Well, how do I bring in parts and move them around and joint them and get them to align with other parts in our projects? Well, I'll try and explain that in this quick video here. So I've got a folder with a bunch of separate parts, some clocks that I've been working on, as well as a mechanism and a retaining ring, which I saved out as separate projects. And I'm going to now try and combine those into one project and move bits around. So I'm going to add the retaining ring into this version of my clock. I've got a mechanism and I've got my clock face, but I don't have a retaining ring. So I'll add that one. And in my data panel, I'll right click and say Insert into Current Design. So Fusion will think about that for a moment or two, and then it's going to insert that right into the project. Now, as soon as you insert something, you get a free move. It sort of invokes the move command and allows us to move stuff. I'm going to move it out of the way, and I'm going to kind of do this wrong on purpose so we can see how can we move it back into position later on. So I've moved it out of there, and then I'm going to say, okay, I'm done. And so I've got this retaining ring, and now I need to get it into position. You'll notice that because it was inserted from another project, it's linked. That's what this chain here means. I can break the link so that I have an independent version of that particular component in the project. So now I can update that and change that here inside my project. So I've broken the link. I'll close my data panel to give myself a little more room to play with. And now I need to get that retaining ring into the right position. So there's a couple ways to do this. You can move things around. You can use the move copy command, so that's available here. And then you have to select what type of thing you're going to move. In this case, it's a component. I will select the retaining ring component. And then as soon as I do that, it allows me to move things around. And I can rotate, I can move, I can spin. So let's take a look at what that means. So as I zoom in, you can see that I can click on one of those arrows and I can move in on a particular axis. I can move it vertically, up and down the z-axis. I can also rotate, so I could actually come in here, and as I move and orbit around my part, I get these rotational commands that allow me to move the rotation, change the rotation of my object. And so you've really got a lot of sort of flexibility when you're doing this. So that's how we move things around. Obviously, what I would do is, try and move my part over by getting it to line up, and as you can see, I'm kind of noodling away here, and it's a bit tedious because to get things to line up precisely can kind of be, a bit sticky, and it's a little bit tedious. I think an easier way to do this when you're trying to move things into position is to not use the move copy command, is in fact to use a joint. And I'll show you that right now. So how do we joint things? I'm going to cancel out of my move copy for now. I think you've seen how to move things around, that you can rotate and do all sorts of stuff. I'll cancel that for now. In this case now, I'm going to actually joint it into place. In this case, I will do that under the Assemble menu here, and I say joint. First thing that Fusion wants to know is what am I going to joint? And in this case, it asks for a very specific position. As you'll see as I mouse over here, all these points on the part activate, and these are all jointable positions or points on the part. And I can click there, and once I do, it goes sort of into glass mode, which is indicating to me that the first component of the joint is already selected. Now I need to select another one. And here, I'm going to come in here, and I'll try and snap that into position in here. I can turn things on and off, and so I can actually come in there and I can move my part. There we go. And you'll see that, boom, it moved it almost perfectly into position. If I try flipping it, no, it didn't. I didn't like that flip. I might need to move it down a bit to get the perfect position. And it should be, I think, I'm not going to offset it. I think that's sort of an uncomfortable way to do this. Let me cancel this one and try another snap. And do I get it? Oh, you know what? I think I've grabbed it from the wrong position. It flipped it upside down. And okay, well, I can always just rotate, I guess. There we go. There, I got its rotational. There we go. Okay, so you see how I've lined up so it's flush with our part, and I rotated it around to line up in the correct direction, and now I'm okay. So I turn back the clock face, you can see that I've got it all pointing in the direction I like. But there you go. That's basically it. That's how we use a joint. And you'll notice that it's got a little icon there. That is that joint. If you go under the data tree here, you'll see that you've actually got a rigid joint that's set there. Rigid means that it's not going to move. You can even rename your joints. I often do so I can keep track of them. So that's a really quick overview of moving and jointing. Don't forget that you can always get help under the help menu, and you can get all sorts of documentation in there to learn about these different features. Please keep those requests coming. I'd love to make more videos for you.